Hi guys. I'm Chen Hui,
Mm-hmm.
and
I'm Shen.
yeah. So today we're gonna talk about leadership in art direction.
Mm-hmm.
So first, we're gonna talk about what makes a good leader. Before we talk about as an art director, we can talk about overall how is a good leader like. So here are four important traits, although there are many other traits that makes a good leader as well. But I personally think that this four is the most important as a leader. So first is clarity. So as a good leader, you must always give clear and concise, uh, like whatever you say must be clear and concise at all times. So this allows other people to clearly digest whatever they need to do and whatever orders you give them, so they are not gonna be lost or and everything's gonna be a messy.
Mm-hmm.
And also decisiveness. So this is because usually there are in a team there are many people and there are different opinions. So it is a leader's job to actually decide what's best, and also being decisive shows that they have shown a great commitment to whatever is the best for the project. So this also show that they have great consistency with their decision. So everything they do, the leader makes sure that it's consistent and everything is correct.
Mm-hmm.
So courage. Of course, being a leader, you need to have the courage to speak up and talk to others. So this give others the trust to actually listen to you and follow you as well. Not just that, you must also have the courage to actually talk to everyone, so that whenever like people face problem, you can be there to support them as well. And lastly will be humility. So great leaders admit when they are wrong and take criticism as opportunity for growth. So this is very important, so that the leader is not overly arrogant, or the leader is just like taking itself as the center of everything. So the leader knows when to take criticism and when to listen to others. So these four, in my opinion, are the most important points. So moving on. So why is leadership so important to art director? So because art director are the center of projects, they're not just in charge of communicating with the client, they're also in charge of giving out all the reports to the creative director, and also they're handling their own team, and they also have to work with other departments at the same time. So because they are at the center of everyone in the project, so it is very important for whatever they do. So because they have all the resources, they are the main connection, so they need to be flexible enough to know what to change and what to not. They also do the brainstorming as well for everything. So it is important that they are able to lead everything properly to ensure that all projects has this sort of certain rhythm and a certain task flow that is done to it. So this makes, if a art director has a really great leadership, all departments can actually progress really smoothly, and they could also communicate well with the client and creative director to get what's best one that is wanted by all respectives. Yeah. So for example, in the next slide, we can see how this is one example like Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie recently. So initially, it was like on the left, but they got a lot of criticism and feedback from people outside, and also some people trying to give feedback, and they refix the image. So what they did was they took all those feedbacks and then they put it back into the art, and it became much more better. So this is how, like, and they did it in a really short span of time as well. So this shows how a good art director can do if they are really able to take criticism and like handle the team in to create such big changes in such a small time. Yeah, and moving on will be Xuan.
Okay, I will talk about what makes a good art director. And first, of course, self-confidence. We need to make sure that we have to be confident in every project, because if leader doesn't believe in yourself, how should like others people believe in them? And if a workers that complains about the work, art director must need to be professional and accept the criticism and find out what is the problem. And this process will help to gain more respect and also build the confidence of itself. Next is the ability to learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions because curiosity is what differentiates good art directors from amazing ones. The more you ask, the more you can learn. So keep asking questions. They may, and it may improve our to keep improving ourselves.
Okay.
The third one is all about teamwork. Art director, a big part of the job of an art director is know how to how and when to use different teams member talents
Mm-hmm.
because the design and the studio life are not a solitary job. So we need to make sure that it's a team and it's all about a teamwork. And the next one is make friends. Follow with the just now what I mentioned before. An art director need to be a good communicator because art director must be able to clearly communicate ideas between departments and build relationship with clients and understand what is their visual needs. Fifth one is creative. Need to be creative and have a strategy thinking. Art directors must have the imagination and creative talent to come up with a new and interesting visual or design. And they need to have a sharp eyes for looking at the details, which may help to make the composition more attractive and consistent. And art director must have the stress resistance.
Yep.
Art director is not an easy job, so usually the overwork they usually overwork, so they will work in a high pressure environment, jam place with deadline and projects and neatly clients. So they need to able to handle the stress that comes along with the job.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, the time management is very important. So because they often work on multiple projects at the same time, so they need to know how to manage their time, and they should be comfortable for multitasking and prioritizing pro, prioritizing projects.
Prioritizing. Okay. Yeah.
Here's the challenge
Yes.
challenge for the
Yes.
art director
Yep.
social skill. So because they need to communicate with different departments, clients. So social skill is very important. So if they afraid to talk to people, how they gonna be is gonna be a good art director.
Okay.
And because the hectic schedule, so they will be very stressful. And this is one of also the challenge that I think is um, a very big challenge for art director
Mm-hmm.
and unique idea. They need to come up they need to come up with many unique ideas so that they can make sure their project will be very unique and nice.
Yep.
Okay, that's all.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Reference.
Alright. Good. 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 Good studies. Alright. So yeah, both teams have presented really well. I believe that you were spot on most of the issues or most of the what they call topics that been handed out to you guys. So which is good, great. I I appreciate it. All right. So yep, the way that you presented was also good. Just that you have to, you know, be a little bit more, um, maybe try to avoid a little hiccup here and there. But overall, it's good, right? So you guys, I think, in info design, I've already mentioned this and so on, which is good. All right, you have improved vastly, and yep. So as in a nutshell, our direction is it's going to be a very high stressful job, right? But that is in a, if you're seeing it from a very what they call just by doing research alone, but actually it depends on the individual by itself. Correct? Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it depends on how you pursue things and how do you um, kind of like adjust and adapt to that particular project and how you portray yourself in that project. Make sense? Right? So being a leader is not being a boss. Make sense? Right? Being a boss
Yes.
is practically you are commanding and saying, hey, look, you do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. It's either my way or no way. Being an art director, it's more so of you are setting a presidential to the or to the team, right? It's like a, how would I say, you are making or you are leading them. So which means you are leading them collectively, right? By considering every weakness and strength of the team. Make sense? Right? By understanding and listening to issues and how do you want to solve the problem collectively, not just one person, right? So being a leader, it's about being a role model to the team, the team will follow you naturally rather than being forced to follow. Got it? All right. So when you state an idea, say for instance, if you are looking at a game, all right, you are working, all four of you are working in a studio, right? And I'm the art director. So if I'm the art director, say you're working as a concept artist, visualizer, graphic designer, and so on and so forth. Each one of you will have your own uh, title and own task to be done, right? So I have to saturate the work or mitigate the work according to your strength as well as push your limits to a little bit slowly to improvise as well as to bring you up the ladder. So if it's just graphic designer, you're not just gonna say, hey, look, you just do the print media, do the branding in this in a very traditional manner and so on and so forth. But maybe you can also give your opinion to the concept art. All right. So what is the functionality that is missing, and so on and so forth. All right. So what are the elements in terms of design principles and functions is missing, and how can you take in the idea from the concept artist who's looking into more on aesthetics, appealing aesthetics, visual narration, and so on and so forth, and put it together to make a good product. Making sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in this manner, so every individual will then be able to collaborate with one another, and rather than having it in just one-sided way of doing a project, right? So that is brought down to also receiving criticism as well as accepting it, right? As an art director, you're always deemed to be a little bit more positive, right? Because you are a leader, right? So when you are a leader, with the moment you crack down, the entire team seems to also, it will have a domino effect, right? Where the other team members will also feel it, right? And you should be aware of that and be as positive as possible. So when you are receiving criticism, whether it's wrong or right, all right, whenever you are receiving it, first we have to evaluate. Okay?
So,
Yeah.
your voice is jumping much, and I can't understand.
Okay. Lama. Okay, maybe the connection is quite bad. Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes? Can I? So
Mm-hmm.
I have recorded this. I'm recording it. All right. So once I post it, you can just scrub through
All
this
right.
video, and then you can also listen back again. Okay. So now is it clear?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Okay. So whenever you're doing like again, all right, as an art director, you have to stay positive. That part you all understand, right? Why you don't want to have any domino effects to your team members. Making sense? Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you receive any criticism from the team, all right, let's say an idea that you have flushed out first, an initiation of an idea for the project, all right? Say you've gotten a project for, say, animation, for instance, all of a sudden, right? So we as a creative hub will take that, and then we will start doing an art direction for that particular project, right, that we are supposed to do. So when you are getting that, first is an art director will initiate the idea. Say, hey, look, these are the shape languages. This is the tone and manner of this project that we are trying to kind of like, adjust and give the best output. So it reaches out to this target audiences, right? As we present, you are then will be given an opportunity to voice out what are the concerns and how do you want to see it in a very productive manner. So which means there's no personal gauge here and saying, I'm giving opinions just for the sake of giving opinion or to bring down someone's, you know, ego or whatever not. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So Joe, you're fine? Is my voice still
Yeah.
cutting? Clear? So when clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're saying that, okay, the positivity should come from all team members. All right. So every time that we are working in a team, it's all about teamwork, work together. Right. When you're giving criticism, make sure it is constructive criticism. And when you're giving criticism, you have to evaluate first before you kind of like throw in ideas. Discussion is good. You can throw in, sometimes it can go overboard, but then again, always remember what is your goal for that particular session that you're going to give your idea and discuss it to perform the best output, okay, collectively. Because without the team members, the project is just an individual project. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you're stating something like, for instance, of course, we also have to give feedbacks based on the criticism, all right, or whatever that you have already discussed upon. So we have to also give feedbacks in a very constructive manner. Say, for instance, if you are saying you are disagreeing with the color palettes that have been chosen, and maybe that day is not a good day for you, and you go like, I don't like this color. Why? Because you're quite harsh over things, right? So some individual or team members are being harsh on that particular time. So you, as a leader and art director, you have to first calmly tone down first, right? Listen, let them release first, and once they have released, and you go like, okay, now we are coming back to the topic that we're trying to what they call discuss. And yep, with your example, with your decisions or with your suggestions, I would say, right, it works well in this particular for this particular target groups. Why is because, as you can see, we've got the point for blah blah blah. You highlight the good things, as well as you say perhaps you do want to consider how unique that we want to be with this with by instilling this kind of tone and manner. You get what I mean? So in that sense, you are not kind of like cutting them off, but you're also accepting. You're taking the points, as well as you're also giving back you're kind of like restating. Hey, look, I've done this. I've looked at this as well, all right? And I'm also taking into consideration your suggestion, so that this becomes as a group work, which as a teamwork, where it will be much more solid. Am I making sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So this is how we are supposed to initiate a discussion and supposed to have like a democratic, like what you said, democratic discussion where you get opinions from the team members so that we know, okay, this is how we can do it. And also we will see what are this we can also determine, okay, the strength of each team members in that particular session, right? So say this you're really good at graphic design or branding. So branding, so what can we do with the branding? What are the fun manners? What are the things that is going to give that extra push, all right, to the team so that everyone is kind of like, okay, let's try to do this. So with my knowledge, it's not just I'm going to focus on one thing and sit on my comfort zone. It's about 80% I'm sitting here, right? My strength. Maybe that 20% I want to push a little further. Am I making clear
Yep.
sense here? Yeah. So in that manner, you're progressively improvising in a team, right? So in a nutshell, it's about critics, what we have already said. It's a summarize of what we have discussed in the very beginning. Any
Mm-hmm.
questions?
No.
Okay. So this is how you
And
want to do it. All right. Put a smile, and then every time you have to, of course, the socializing is part of this, right? Whenever you're doing discussion, all that, so everything is all chained together. So all this the methods and so on and so forth, it kind of like it has this connection, chain connection. It's like a domino effect. So if we kind of like lose a part or partial of this information that been conveyed to one another, eventually we are going to have like this whole project will have a lot of hiccups. Okay.
mm-hmm.
All right. So coming next week, I will explain about how do you want to manage your time so that you do not feel lethargic, or you do not be feeling burnt out over just doing one project alone. So yeah, how do you want to saturate or mitigate your work, all right, to one another team member, and ownership to be built for each and for each team members via the project management. Okay, so we will talk into your agile system. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
so you
Okay.
all get the whole idea, right? Happy
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
dopey, happy dopey.
Happy dopey.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So this is what I'm slowly building into you guys, so that you will be a good leader rather than rather than just being okay, um, you know, uh, I would say an instructor. Don't be an instructor. You know what I mean? If you're being instructor, then you're just being like a I would say a strict dude who's just gonna go like it's just me. I don't care about anyone's feelings or whatever not, or it's not emotionally deciding things. Do not do anything that is based on emotion. You can be emotional. You will have times where you are going to break, and you're going to have like this applies whether it's art director or whatever not, right? You will be emotionally affected. So say for instance you are being a student as well, right? So you'll feel like, why I'm just going to throw out my tantrum and all that. Throwing out a tantrum, you know in a public, or in any discussions and so on and so forth, it may happen, right? But always reflect back, hold up whenever you feel that kind of tantrum is kind of like taking place. Just walk away for a bit. Okay, calm yourself down, which means, okay, say, always see, if I'm going to say it out things like this, if I'm going to be extremely, you have to voice out anyways, but how do I want to voice it out in a manner that it kind of like it it doesn't go like, it doesn't burn the bridge one shot. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We all are, human. We are not slaves, right? So you want to have like, okay, how do I put it in a proper manner so that it goes like, it's not showing just emotion. It's based on facts and based on, you know uh, a reflection that is you know I would say that is going to affect the project rather than emotion or personal emotion, personal agendas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You will be working with different individuals, maybe not your friends, maybe it is a brand new guy who comes out from uni, or you are going in, and then some every individual will have their own attitude. Okay. So my little advice is you go ahead and say, okay, like, okay, let us evaluate, let us study first, understand. They are going to be tantrum, maybe because their situation is such, there's so much on their plate, and maybe it was just thrown so many projects that it's never ending story. So how do we want to adjust this? How do we want to make sure we will slowly calm down? At least there's a movement there, yeah, to lead to a greater success. Making sense?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah. So these are things that
Yeah,
you have to train yourself. Yeah. Um, it comes as you move on to the ladder. You'll see, you'll experience, right? You will straight away, you will experience a lot of things. You will adjust yourself accordingly. You'll be a better leader slowly, right? So it's not going to happen overnight, right? We all learn from our mistakes. Whenever we do mistakes, if we are wrong, state it. No harm. You know what I mean? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's wrong, it's wrong, right? So if you have like there's too much on your plates and all that, so you have to state it. Okay, look, if I'm going to do this, example, if I'm going to do this and continue doing this, what happens to the priority lists that we have already set up, right? So which is the main priority that we are looking at first, rather than seeing it as a whole, task that you have to complete, from uh, uh, in one go. It doesn't make sense, right? So in that, in order to kind of like avoid this kind of hiccups that we're going to have, so how about let's take on priorities first, and then let's agree upon the priorities that we can work on. We'll do the best on that. So we take one step at a time. At least we get things done, right? Then you go like, oh, okay, now I get the idea behind it. You are exhausted, right? So how does it reflect to the entire project? What will it, you know what kind of reaction it gives to the project by itself? Okay, what I mean? So this is how you say it out to your superiors and so on and so forth. In a way lah. Any questions?
nope.
Okay.
No.
Alright. Can
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Can.
Yeah. So hopefully this gives you more insights of how a studio, a real life is going to be, right? If you're working, whether it's going to be online, whether it's going to be, um, you know, face to face, because things may change after this because of this pandemic and so on. So you might not be there to go and see them. But if it's discussed during video calls and so on and so forth, what happens? The reactions, your body language, and so on and so forth. Okay. So all this is still the same. You just have to tone it down in such a manner, or you have to not. I'm not saying that don't be. You'll be a yes man for everything. Don't be a yes man, right? If you want to state something, do it in proper. right? Don't show that you have that emotion. Go like f you and see you. You get what I mean? So throwing
Yeah.
tantrum, flipping the table, that is reflecting bad on you. Think about how does it reflect back on you? So you're slowly building your leadership in that manner, right?
Yep.
Right? There will be times we are like human. There will be times that you're gonna break, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's for sure. Being an art director, the task is huge because it is not just about doing the look and feel. It's about driving the whole team, right? So the amount of work is a lot, super stressful, right? At first it will be fun. Slowly, at times when the crunch time comes, it's like oh gosh, what am I supposed to do? How am I gonna engage to my staffs and make them try to achieve the best output, the uniqueness that we are trying to instill in here. So blah blah blah. So everyone has to agree upon it, right? So there will be times like overwork and exhaustion is going to happen. So you're going to go like, okay, what next, right? So you're not going to every time sit down and most of the time you'll have discussion, initiation, and so on and so forth. Once you have already confirmed, you're not going to go back and forth and change and change. You won't do that, right? So once agreed upon, we have to follow, right? So that is practically you take ownership already. So that's why they said the initial meeting is essential,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you go like, okay, today we're going to talk about this project. What do you all think? Please give me feedbacks by tomorrow or by, I'll give you about 3 days. Maybe if you have any comments or whatever not, any ideas, please let it, uh, throw it in so that we can collectively look at it and then evaluate which is the best way that we can approach this project. And once we come out with a conclusion, we all should all agree upon it and let's lock down, okay, to that particular look and feel and so on and so forth. So once we lock down already, okay, now how do we achieve this? Blah 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 blah. So what are the steps? Okay, you work on this, you work on this, I work on this, I work on this, and I will check on the quality assurance so that everything is in line to what we agreed upon. And you have to, as an art director, you will go and you have to not only convey to the artist I'm talking about, right? So you have to convey this message to the programmers, the studio managers, stakeholders, and then you're now selling already. You know what I mean? You're selling the idea. This is what we can come out with, so all of you are in line and go to the stakeholder. Hey, look, this is what we're gonna have. This is our proposal. So you're happy with it. Okay, end of the day, the output will be similar to this. Maybe even if it's not, maybe not means maybe about like 80 or maybe about 5%. It may change. All right, out of this direction that we have, or it can be enhanced as well along the way. Yeah, but we are not going to go back and forth. Today you talk about something and tomorrow you go like, can I change this, can I change this? Then it's never ending story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this
Okay.
applies for game as well as any medium in our industry, any creative industry. Did I explain well?
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah.
I'll wait
Sorry,
for the recording
sorry.
because I'll wait for the recording because it's too jumpy for me.
Okay, okay. So yeah, Um, listen to the recording back again. I mean, you can skip anything that you intend to skip. All right. So capture the essence in a nutshell. Right. So make sure that you are in line of what is all about leadership. It by paper, by notes, you can just write it down. Right. But in terms of practice, that's a challenge. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So can you Do you want to show your uh, your research finding or your game proposal, or you want to do it next week?
I don't mind.
Okay.
This week or next week? Joe says okay,
We
and
got we got class at 11.
okay, okay. So how about next? So okay, how about you adjust it a little bit? Okay,
Huh?
at 11, you got class at 11, huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Say that you show me.
8, 11 or 12?
12 lah.
12 ah?
Aiyo.
Oh, 12. Can I got time?